Scruffy Audio Network.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. I'm here with another Italian brother of mine. His name is Nicky Delmonico. He's a professional baseball player. On Fridays at 8:15, I usually do my podcast, and he just got through training. And I'm going to sit down with him and chat for about 40 minutes on a whole bunch of different topics. So we're going to make this thing go sideways, okay? But I do open up. The Woodgym came up with podcasts about a year ago about type A personalities, driven people, wake up thinking how to get better, go to sleep thinking how to get better. You're one of those guys. So the beauty of my podcast is these aren't guests. These are people that actually train with me, and it makes it really cool because once you sit down and put a microphone on somebody, I learn things about that guest that or client or brother that I would never know before. So I always open up the show. I'm sure you've listened to all 36 of my podcasts. None. My Italian brother supporting me. I appreciate that. All right, Nicky Delmonico, blue eyes, crazy eyes. When did you know that you were different?
I would say, I guess, at a really young age. Being a bat boy for my dad, I felt like I got my passion and my love of the game from my dad. But that was my happy place. Like I said, my teachers had my homework ready for me on Friday because I was leaving to go with my dad's team. I loved being at the field. I loved driving in with them. I loved being in the dugout. It was one of the coolest experiences that I've had as a childhood, and that's when I found my passion. And I kind of looked around, and I didn't see anybody else like me. I didn't see anybody else driven to care about. I mean, I'd go home on the car ride home, and like, Dad, who we sign and who we get. You know, at 8 years old.
And your dad is
Rod Delmonico,
and he was
the head coach at Tennessee for 18 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you were a little kid rolling around with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always wondered about everything. I wanted to know who is he recruiting? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? He's going to help us win a College World Series. And you can verify with JP and Luke. I was always around, and that's when I kind of felt like I was different.
That's so different, as in like the passion for the game.
I just. I'm pretty sure everybody finds their hobby and their love, but right. I found it at a young age. I found it, through my dad, and I just loved it. I picked it up, and it's never left me. I've always had that passion, that love, and yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're back. It's been since 2012-13 that we trained, and you're saying you were only 21 then?
Not even. I was 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 27 now.
And then you've gone through a whole bunch of different lanes of life, and now at 2019 we're back, and it feels good having you in here. It really does. So take me through the journey of Nicky's baseball life from when I saw you to now.
All right. So in 2012, I was training here, and
that's the first time we trained, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I go off and I play minor league ball for my second year. That's when I was in high A with.
Did you get drafted out of high school?
I did.
And what round?
I was 6th round, and I was supposed to go to the University of Georgia, so I had a tough decision to make: either go and play with my brother or sign out of high school and go play professionally.
Who'd you get drafted with?
Baltimore Orioles.
Got it. Oh, yeah, I got my helmet right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so I go off and play, and that was, for me, the toughest time because I was prescribed, or I had a script for Adderall when I was in high school, my junior year and my senior year. And I took it for school, and I go off, and 2 years later, I never really had a problem. It helped my studies, and then I go off to pro ball, and I get approved by Major League Baseball to take this medication. I didn't know what it was going to do to me. I didn't know I was going to have to lean on this every single day. And I go off and play, and it was my second year where I really started to create a bad habit. I don't know if you know the minor leagues, but, the first two levels, low A and high A, you're on 15-hour bus rides going throughout the night, and you get there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and, you go to your hotel, you might sleep for a few hours, and the buses aren't nice, and you wake up and you have to play again. So that's when I started to abuse my medication. I wanted to be alert for the game. This is my job. I would take this medicine to help get me up and, help me be alert for the game. And from there, it was a downward spiral. I ended up taking more. I built up a tolerance. Halfway through, I get traded to Milwaukee in 2013. And I go to Milwaukee, and I'm not in a good place mentally. Kind of sad I got traded. Playing with a whole new team, have to go from Frederick, Maryland, all the way down to Florida mid-season, and join this team that I have really no idea anybody who I'm going to meet, and I start abusing my medication more. Go into that off season, and really don't know what to do. I'm trying to get off this medicine. And by the way, when I was earlier, my first 2 years, I couldn't sleep. So I call up the doctor and I'm like, hey, I can't sleep. So what do? They give me Ambien. So now at 20, 21 years old, I'm relying on something to get me up and put me down as a 20-year-old to play this sport. So I'm with the Brewers, and I go into that off season after 2013, and I try to reach out to MLB, and I'm like, okay, I need this medication canceled. I don't want to any more scripts, anything else. I need to stop taking this because I physically can't. I'll try, and then the doctor sends me a script. Hey, here you go, which is easy. Go to the pharmacy, get a script, and next thing you know, I'm taking more than I need and staying up multiple nights. My mind's going crazy. I'm losing my mind, and I don't know how I got there. So I need to put a stop to it. I call MLB, and they're understanding, and from there, I'm going to an outpatient program, which is very humbling. I had to set myself back, and I missed that spring training going into 2014. So I'm doing this outpatient program.
And when did I come see you in Arizona? Was it 2014?
2014.
And you came, you unfolded a lot of stuff, and we were down the lobby at the bar.
Yeah, that was kind of the mix of everything. I was going through it, and I was battling. I'd be good for a week and terrible for 2 weeks. And that's kind of the process I was going through. But 2014, I missed my spring training, and I'm doing this outpatient program. And I go off to, I come back and I, play in their extended spring. And then I leave to go back to where I was traded to, High A in Brevard County. And I'm doing well. I feel good. It's the first time I've been off this medication for a while. And, before in all my baseball bags, I'd have so many scripts that I just leave them all around. So it's about a month in, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to unpack. We got an off day. Like, I'm going to unpack and do everything. So I'm unpacking all my stuff. And what do I find? I find 3 Adderalls at the bottom of my bag. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. What do? My addict self, I take the 3, clean up my whole house. Everything's clean. And I just felt this guilt laying down in bed that night. And I go in the next day, and I go into my manager's office, and I'm like, hey, listen, I messed up. I took Adderall. I need, just come and clean with it. And he was like, hey, no worries, all this. We called in Major League Baseball, and we were trying to talk to them. And they're like, it's okay, we're glad you reached out. Unfortunately, after I left my coach's office, I go back into the clubhouse, and there's a drug test for the entire team. So obviously, I know what's ahead of me. I know I'm going to fail this test. And that's when the most depressed I've ever been. Because I've been always about respecting the game, playing hard. And again, this is my first passion. This is the thing that I love the most, and I've always loved. So now I know I'm about to get tested positive for, Adderall. And I don't know what to do. So there again, after I test, I go off a deep end. I start doing more, and then I get to the point where I'm like, I need to go home. I left the season in High A, went back to Arizona, and I'm on my couch just waiting for the day to get the call saying, hey, you're suspended. And, I'm using more and more. And I got to the point where one day I get the phone call, and then what do? I'm on Twitter, I'm on social media, just this guy, this selfish SOB, all this terrible things, which is not helping my depression. So I'm reading all this stuff terrible about me. I have no idea what to do. I'm in a terrible place. And that's when I started to go to all my rehab places, in and out of 3 rehabs, just battling, going in and, crying. I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm like crying in these places. I'm like, why am I here? How did I get here? I lost baseball. I lost my family. I lost everybody. I've never cried so much in my life. I've never been so up and down. And it got all the way to 2015. I told the Brewers, I'm done. I'm not coming back for you guys. You guys got to release me. I was just in a terrible place. And, for them to deal with me, I was awful. And I finally got a phone call from them saying, hey, we released you in 2015. And I actually went down to the zoo by my house. And the only place I found happiness was at this zoo right by my house in Surprise. So I went there to, I was like, hey, I want to work here. So they're like, all right, you got to come for a week for training.
At the zoo?
At the zoo.
In Surprise, Arizona.
So it's like basically you have to go through, and then from there you can probably, we can tell you if you got the job or not. So the next day I got a call from my agent, goes, hey, the White Sox want to sign you. What do you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But I still wasn't right. And I go into the White Sox, and
this is 2015?
2015 spring training, and I'm same thing. I'm up and down. I'm still abusing this medication. I'm trying to hide it. I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm fine.
So you're taking two pills?
Oh, I'm supposed to. I'm taking multiple. I'm taking this stuff like Skittles. Literally.
Uppers and downers.
Right. No more downers, just straight uppers.
Straight uppers. Are you drinking on this?
No. I've never mixed anything with this drug. Besides when I was playing, I'd take the Ambien to put me to sleep. But at this point, I didn't like the Ambien. I just went straight with uppers.
So do you also battle depression?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're up 3 days in a row without sleeping, you start seeing stuff. It was a crazy, crazy run. And that was normal. I'd be up for 3 days without sleeping. And then I'd crash for a day, 2 days. My whole family would wonder where I'd disappear from my family. It was rock bottom.
So you're with the White Sox.
Yeah. And Spring training in 2015.
You're not going to take the zoo job?
No. Skip the zoo job.
So the zoo job.
Going back to...
Note to self, Ben.
Go back to playing, and I'm struggling. I showed up late to mini camp. Buddy Bell dragged me in, and he's telling me what's going on, all this. And there was one day where I come in for physicals, and I'm all weirded out. I haven't slept for 2 days, and I'm there, and I remember sneaking out, jumping the fence, and running to my car and going to the front parking lot of the stadium, and I called Buddy Bell. And I remember crying to him out front and saying, I can't, do this. I'm not right. I need help. And I owe him, Buddy Bell, and Tommy Thompson my life. Buddy Bell told me, Nicky, leave the game. Go get yourself right. Baseball will be here when you're ready. So I left, and I still was at home for that next week, not wanting to leave. And Tommy Thompson would call me every single day saying, hey, we need to get you to a place. And I would ignore his calls. And then finally one day, it's like 5 days later, I was like, okay. So I accepted. I go into this rehab place for 45 days, the longest I've ever stayed. And that's when I slowly started to turn things around. But it didn't end there. So I come out of rehab, and, first 2 weeks I use again. And I'm just like, I can't beat this thing, man.
And what are you using?
Adderall.
So yeah. Adderall's your...
Yeah.
And, for you listeners and viewers out there, I didn't expect all this. I expected, just a normal conversation, maybe, for you to unload on that. That's pretty damn special. So
it's definitely not easy. I've shared my story, but I haven't shared it like this before.
Wow.
I've touched up on stuff, but I haven't even come close to saying the stuff I'm saying now. And for me, when I got out of the 45-day rehab, I used again. And I'm like, I can't beat this thing. I can't win. I can't do anything. So,
and is this a kid that never touched anything all through high school?
Nothing.
I mean, you seem like the type of kid that was so pure and driven.
And I mean, when I'm at a young age, I was told, hey, I can't study well. You go in to see a doctor. And you're like, yeah, I'm having trouble reading. I'm having trouble this. Okay, well, hey, here's a script. Try, 20 milligrams twice a day Adderall. See if that helps. I mean, I didn't know. I'm listening to a doctor, It's, I think he knows everything. So what do? I do it, and it works. It wakes you up like that. And that's when it started.
Yeah.
And
in high school.
So I'm now 2015. Just got out of rehab. Spring training's over. Season started
With the White Sox.
And they don't know where I am. I told them I'd call them whenever I'm back. And I came home and I'm kind of lingering around. And then I told my mom I'm going to an outpatient program again.
And home is Knoxville.
Now I'm in Surprise.
Okay,
Arizona.
you're in Surprise,
yeah,
Arizona.
So I'm doing all my rehab stuff out there. And then I go to Wickenburg, Arizona, and I remember I'm there at this hotel for a week. Family thinks I'm at an outpatient program. No one knows where I'm at. And I'd go up and sit at this pool every single night.
What do you mean you're at a hotel for a week?
I just went up to
went off the grid?
Yeah, went off the grid. Just at this hotel, sitting, at this pool, and this pool had no water in it. It was just empty. You have to take these stairs. It was like, I'm pretty sure I was the only one staying at this hotel.
And nobody knows you're there?
Nobody knows where I'm at. And I'm just sitting at this pool, like, what am I going to do with my life? Literally, I came to the point where I'm like, I felt like when you're driving and you're at a dead end. I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to fight? Am I going to do anything? And I just told myself, I'm like, okay, you're going to come back to baseball and you're going to try to be the best teammate you can be. You're going to love the game and you're going to try to reconnect with your family. I told myself, try to do these 3 things. That's it.
And you're by yourself in this hotel?
I'm by myself.
Like in a hotel?
In a hotel. So next day, I call the White Sox and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to come back. Now, was I really? No. But I came back and I told myself I'm going to smile every day, all these things, enjoy being at the game. And I come back and I halfway through All-Star break 2015, I joined Low A. And I'm in Low A, Kannapolis, and first game back, I walk in my just 4-pitch walk, but my second AB, I hit a home run to right. And I'm like sitting there like, I haven't picked up a bat in a year and a half, all this, hit a home run, hit a triple, almost hit for the cycle. And back in the league where I first started. Play there for 2 weeks, and then I get moved up to Double-A, Birmingham. And that's when I started to get my groove. I found a great group of guys. I did the 3 things that I told myself, and I built on that. So this is something that I have come through my own. I didn't go to rehab and I was fixed. It was baseball, my love that I had that kind of helped me get through everything. And then, the rest is the past. I go to the fall league that year, play all right, start out in Double-A the next year in 2016, get moved up to Triple-A. Next offseason, 2017, have my first big league camp. I do really well, hit like 5 homers, 265, go to Charlotte, and then
Charlotte's what?
Charlotte's Triple-A.
Got it.
And that's August 1st is when I got called up to the big leagues.
What year?
2017. So all this stuff that I kind of skipped through, but that mentality of the 3 things, it helped me get back to myself. It helped me find the love. And for the longest time, I was afraid to come home, back to Knoxville. But I beat it. The mental grind of just struggling.
And what were you afraid to come home to Knoxville?
I don't know. I left. I just left. I don't know why I was afraid. I don't know. I think that I was just scared to come home for some reason. I was even scared to come back in here for the first time.
I mean, that's what glad you made your way back to the Woodgym.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was one of my notes that I was writing over there while you were chalk talking with a couple of the other guys in here. I didn't realize you were such a savage. You played on the USA, is it all-star team or just USA?
USA, they have USA 16 under and then USA 18 under. And then, like, they have a college team. They have a bunch of different levels.
And you played 3 years, right? And then when you were, I know we weren't mic'd up, but, like, the names that you were on the team with you were the two names were who?
Bryce Harper and Manny Machado.
And Nicky Delmonico's in that. You know, so that's the thing, hopefully, that as we say in the therapy business, we're going to peel back the onion and go, okay, now you're 27. Where are those years? So those years were lost because of addiction?
I say so. I kind of set myself back probably 3 years.
Right.
And, you know, I think I put physical abuse on my body that I had to get back. And then also when I came back, I was dealing with injuries, so I could never really get to 100%. And, you know, fortunate for me right now, it's the best I've ever felt.
Yeah, so at 27 years old, what's next?
Right now, what's next is coming in here every day. I'm a free agent right now. I get the question every day, where are you going to end up? Who are you going to be with? I was like, man, that's out of my control. I don't know. There's certain teams that I'd like to go to, but the things I can control is coming in here every day, working hard, doing the things that I can control.
Why you're Nicky Delmonico? It's just like a Harrison Smith, you know, the safety for the Minnesota Vikings. You could go anywhere in the country. You could do anything you want to do training-wise. Why'd you pick to come home first to Knoxville, and then why the Woodgym? Because there's other places, even in you go up to University of Tennessee and train for free.
Yeah. Well,
why here? I know why Harrison Smith does it. That's like a son to me at 8th grade starting out, and I think we would have had that same relationship. But why you?
That mentality of coming to the Woodgym every single day, the training, yes, all the things we do here is unbelievable. But I remember playing when I first trained here and leaving, just about that confidence, that the fear of failure. I didn't feel that after I left here, because I felt like when I came here, I was so mentally strong. I was so mentally tough that I felt like I did everything I could for when I go out in the field. If I strike out, if I did it, it was fine. I could wipe it off because I know that I did everything possible in the Woodgym, training, getting up every day, you know, training on, I remember we trained on Christmas Eve. We trained on Thanksgiving. It was like, and every day I remember you saying, no one else is doing this. No one else is getting up. Everybody else is sleeping. It was just those things that brought confidence to me as a player and as a person. And I know I needed that. I was like, listen, I finally got surgery. I'm healthy. I'm a free agent. I'm 27. I'm still young. I still got about 6-7 years in me. But I need that. I need to come back to the Woodgym. I need to get that confidence back to take me to the next level.
And I guess, you know, it's bizarre how we click when we see each other again, because it's not like we keep in touch. I know, like DMs or whatever, I'll say a comment, and you always say something back. You're always gracious enough. But it's not like phone calls once a week for the last 3 or 4 years or whatever. It's just one of those places where I don't know if you feel that way, or it's just what I give off of, like, hey, I know he's going to take me back. I don't have to talk to him for 3 or 4 years, and he's going to welcome me back. There's always no hard feelings of anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It's the love you give. It's awesome. Like you know, you're like the Godfather to me. You know, you just open, you know, arms wide open. You know, I haven't been here in 2012, but I walked through the first day, and I feel like I'm walking back home. It feels like I only trained here for one off season, but it felt the warming feeling I got after coming here. Shoot, what it was been, you know, 8-7 years, mm-hmm. and coming back in, and just that warm feeling. This last week has been the best week of my life. Coming in, training every day. The feeling, even though I've been waking up, taking baby steps down the stairs, sore as can be.
Right.
It's the best feeling.
We're just glad you're here.
Yeah, that is true.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just like J.P. Arancibia, the catcher that I trained with Toronto and Tampa, And he was even with Baltimore for a minute. I remember when we were working out, and, he lived with me when he trained, and then he happened to come in the same week that you started. And I even asked him today, I was like, why are you here this week? He's like, well, to help UT and see Tony, and then, I had to get my Woodgym in. And whatever that is for everybody, whether it's spiritual or whatever it is, it's always like, cool, okay, because he's been looking forward to it. Even Saturday morning, he's like, hey, I want to see the doc group that comes in. So I think it it's like soul food, like fills the soul or something, as the Woodgym does, So you're 27, okay?
By the way, you can go anywhere else. I've trained so many places. I've trained at my spring training with the White Sox. I've gone to so many gyms. You can't get what you get here. It's a family. It's like, coming in here every morning, chatting it up, working out. Everybody's pushing you. It's something different here. And I think that's why JP comes back. It's the love. It's the feel. Now, he might have something different, but that's what I see. I mean, he's not playing. Obviously, he wants to stay fit, but he can go anywhere, For him to come back here, not playing, it's, just like how Luke comes. It's the family aspect. It's, the love in the Woodgym. I think that's why people come.
Well, and that's why I get along with you guys is you had dreams as a little kid and you're living them. And I had dreams as a little kid and I'm living it. And I think that pours over to everybody of you could do it. Like even the Emily that's doing the WWE and you have everybody in here going for it,
right.
Because they believe it because they have a guy that's not disgruntled or nasty or mean and not happy with his life. He's like, every day I wake up, I'm living a dream. It's not like going to work. It's going to have fun, but we get fun and we get after the workouts. And then, tonight you're coming over and we'll do a fire pit and eat and hopefully not choke and start again tomorrow.
Yeah, please no choking.
No choking.
Yeah, and then we'll get the whistle for Holly.
The dude signed a bat for me saying, thanks for saving my life. I mean, I'm a real-time hero. I mean, it's amazing how humble I am with it.
That's the first time I've ever choked, too, in my life.
That's the first time I, at 51 years of age, had to perform the Heimlich. And I think, now looking back on it, I'm going to stroke myself a little. I'm going to be really selfish, not selfless this time, and talk about the self-confidence that I build up that I could save anybody. Ben, you okay? Okay, all right. So I got like 3 questions. I won't keep you long. I know you got tons of things to do. What's the best advice you've been given, and how has that influenced your life?
My dad told me one time he talked to Pete Rose, and Pete Rose, he asked Pete Rose, I have 3 kids that play baseball. Is there anything you can give to me that I can give to my kids? And Pete Rose told my dad, tell them to never be satisfied. So my dad told me that, and, you kind of think about that. It's like, whatever you accomplish in this life, you can always settle. And I think as an athlete, it is very good to celebrate in your goals, but to be caught up into it, it could be a distraction. It can be, a setback. So for, whatever you achieve in this world, is to stay hungry, to never be satisfied. So whether you win state championships, what's next? Always have the mindset of an athlete of what's next. What's next for me? After you complete goals, I think the biggest thing is to, create another list. Mm-hmm. And that's how you continue going. And I think that's what he meant to say to my dad. And, for you to never get stuck. Just like in life, you make your list every single day mm-hmm. of your goals. So to me, it's like never be satisfied. What's next? Seize the day, and don't get caught up in the awards. Whatever you do, take it in, but always find something to do next. It's always what's next. What's next?
All right, I like it. Never be satisfied. We talk about that as going through the motions, status quo. I think I posted on my Instagram a while back ago, maybe a couple months ago, is, averages for suckers. You know, I mean, you could wake up and do nothing and be average, you know, be extraordinary that day. And what does that extraordinary look for you? But you said it, never settle, going through the motions, status quo. This is what it is. That's not here at the Woodgym because, you know, everybody's going for goals, whether it's a gentleman at body weight or you going, you know, I want to play in the league 7 more times, maybe get some 3 or 4 all-stars, whatever it is, those goals, let's go for those. And I think everybody in the Woodgym is pretty driven, you know, because we're 13 to 16 deep at 5:45 a.m. in the morning and going after some very intense workouts. That says a lot about the mindset of everybody. And even you being in here, seeing the high school kids and going, these high school kids are getting up. Well, they're Petrone guys. You know what I'm saying? But you're a Petrone guy because of who you are. I didn't make you a Petrone guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I always say that is like, you just found something that fits you. It's not like I developed you. And I take credit for having a place that people could go to and fit in because I really feel like we're the land of the misfits because we are always pushing the envelope and doing the extraordinary things to where it'd be easy just to settle and be status quo. And we never compare ourselves with someone else. You know, like I always said to you, it's you against you. And I think that's the best way is like my competition is me. And I think if you always think that, you know, getting up out of bed or having to go do a mountain bike when you don't want to, or you know, you're working a 16-hour day. I mean, that's the edge. You know, when I wake up from a 2:36 a.m. to a 4:30 a.m. and it's 12 o'clock and I'm like, whoa, my eyes are getting heavy. I'm like, what? Already been up for 9 hours, you know, and it's, you could take on so much more when you do so much more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Second question. Given the journey you've been on, what's the one piece of advice you'd pass to our listeners and viewers? The one piece of advice with the journey you've been on.
Well, for me,
and it's been one hell of a journey.
Yeah. To all the people, I mean, I might touch one person with this, but it comes back to my Adderall situation. For me, I never, like as an athlete, if you want to achieve a goal, you gotta come in, you gotta work out, you gotta put in the effort, you gotta sweat and sweat and sweat to achieve your goals. It's the same thing as studies, you know, in the classroom. Like I never worked in the classroom like I did with, you know, athletics. And that's the one mistake I wish or regret I could go back and do. I took the easy way out. As in, I went to a doctor and I was like, I'm having trouble studying. And I think to be a great student, you got to do the same thing. You got to force yourself to read. You got to learn ways. You got to do things to be a great student. And I took the easy way out and I went to a doctor and got Adderall. And it fixed me like that. And the biggest thing and advice to me is there's different ways around ADD, ADHD. I feel like God bless us all with a little bit. But don't take the easy way out in anything. Always find a way to push yourself and bust through that door, and you'll be surprised what you find.
And that's what I say. You just hit the word easy. And that's what I put on some of the workouts when I write them. Ben, you might want to read this. Easy way, hard life. Hard way, easy. Holy shit, Holly, what was that?
That was the cashews.
But
that out, Ben?
Just go back to the beginning of what you were saying.
Yeah,
again,
go back, yeah.
you're gonna do your magic. When we talked about easy and hard, your choices, you know, like you took the easy way out, and then your life was harder,
right,
even though you were drafted. But if you did the hard choices, you make an easy life. And I was telling a couple of clients and athletes in here, like, well, I don't want an easy life. I'm like, I'm not talking about easy life. It's just smoother because you did the hard things first, and you took them on. You know, like you were just talking about. If I would have done this, it maybe would have gotten better, and I would have been 7 years right now in the MLB. Mm-hmm. But I took the Adderall way instead of, you know what I'm saying?
Which in the long run made it even harder.
Right.
So it's like you got to face it one day.
Right.
It's just like running from the beast. One day you're going to have to come back and face them. And
right,
it was even harder than when I first started.
That's yeah. I mean, this is a really good podcast of you open it up. And again, the Woodgym is so real, and your being real is going to hit on a lot of people. All right, last question. What absolutely excites you right now?
Waking up at 5:15 in the morning and coming in here to work out. Sitting down in here, it's like, this is my favorite drug. Like coming in here, working out, being around everybody. And to me, it's the best drug because you're coming in here and it's, most drugs you take, it's terrible after effect. This is good for your body. This is awesome. It's good for the brain. It's the best thing to get out. It's the fear of coming here first before was, it's terrible. It's like, man, I'm not in shape. I'm going to die my first workout. But you get through that first week of coming here, you won't ever leave. And that's why, I finally came back. I was like, I finally missed that feeling. I want that feeling. And this past week has been the best week of my life. So waking up, hearing my alarm clock go off at 5:15 a.m. every morning that's what excites me.
Well, and that's what we talk about, the pull and the push is you're not pushed to get in the gym, you're pulled. Mm-hmm. Like, an arm's reaching to pull you in the gym. And I could tell from Monday to Friday, you already have a different swag. And the swag doesn't mean a cocky swag. That just means, hey, I'm home. I feel good. I'm going in the right direction. And like you were talking about the best drug, and that leads us into the Lost Generation series that I'm doing with Dr. James Chu of it's a win-win when you train or move or exercise, like anything else from the drugs to the drinking to the smoking. You might get your high or the sugar of the wine. You might get your high, but then there's a negative after effect. Mm-hmm. With this, it's positive.
Right.
Like you said, mentally, physically, you feel so much better. And, you're looking at 9:15. You've already been up close to 5 hours. That's a pretty good edge because that's what my edge has taken me through is we're going to outwork people. And now you being so talented with the smart work that you're doing and the people you're around, I mean, the sky's the limit for you, wouldn't you say?
Well, I wish I knew what I knew when I was 20 now. But, I went through the experience. I went through everything. And I'm so glad now I'm finally healthy for the first time in a long time. 27. I feel like, mentally I'm the strongest I've ever been. And I'm so happy I made the choice to come here to, to see where I can go now. Because when I was training here, I was on Adderall back into that. So I wasn't able to put my full, self, I'm eating right. I'm sleeping right. I'm doing all the little things now that I still, when I was first here, I wasn't doing everything. So I'm excited to see, what next year has for me, what this offseason, where I can get my body to, and also mentally.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you made the step to come back here. And, I'm going to hold you to the next offseason.
Oh, I'm here. You got me for a while.
And I got a big house with a lot of bedrooms, so you can stay with me if you want. The two Italian guys living together, that could be a whole other topic. But I'm glad that you took this time to sit down and chat with me. And it was a pretty heavy show of where you've come from to where you want to go. So I love you, man. I'm so glad that you're here with us, and it's going to be a great offseason.
Oh, it's all love, and I appreciate you having me, brother.
Thanks, Nicky.